Hello,
Hi, I'm Allie,
and I'm Andre.
and this is the Love is Blind podcast. we were doing so well saying it together.
Yeah, look, sometimes maybe I just have to defer.
We flew too close to the sun, you know? It's okay.
We're doing too well for too long.
But we are here to discuss Love is Blind Sweden, Season 1, Episode 8, called...
Is it true love? ?
With the description being...
Emotions run high as the couples are fitted for the big day. When they cut loose for the bachelor and bachelorette parties, their true feelings surface? I added the question in that last statement.
It's definitely a period.
But I guess they kind of do.
Yeah, I guess they surface a little bit.
Yes.
Yes, if you like this podcast, please follow us, subscribe. We're on Instagram at Love is Blind Podcast.
And leave us a review on your preferred platform.
The reviews are the most helpful, I think.
Yeah. And they also make us feel the best. So there's that.
Especially when people leave verbal commentary on the review. But I get it. We're busy. Even just hitting a 5-star.
Even that makes a difference.
That's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
It's like people have to go out of their way to do it, you know? So it's really nice. Yeah, but we are ready. For those of you who listened to the end of episode 7, we realized Love is Blind Brazil is coming out next Wednesday, and so we had to hop on this. So we were hoping to finish Love is Blind Sweden. And I have to say, we purposefully do not watch the next episode until we do the podcast, and I'm actually dying to know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many of these couples are just, it's a roller coaster for so many.
Definitely. And this series, I have to say, this season, I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying quite a bit. I did want to say a thank you to Naomi for reaching out to us on Instagram. Your message was very sweet. And I realize now that we haven't replied. But thank you so much for reaching out to us. We love to hear from you. So, should we get started?
I think so. We start in a very sad place.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We start with Christopher talking about his breakup. And kind of to the thing that I was kind of thinking was going to happen is he's blaming himself for the way things ended. He thinks that it's somehow his fault for, that he did something wrong. And while we both have spent some time kind of saying the ways in which he might have ignored some of the signs from Katya, still, this really broke my heart, and it made me feel real bad to hear him say that he thinks he's not good enough, and he's hurting a lot. He's really hurting a lot.
Yeah, he can't even stay on the camera. He has to just walk away, which I actually respect. He's taking care of himself, but it's sad.
Yeah,
it's like this is how an attachment wound gets formed. Like. He's assuming it's him so that she gets to remain, the good one, the one that he idealized.
Yeah. And it like, to your point, it's the kind of thing that is going to affect him in future relationships now. He's going to be probably more guarded. He's going to, this is going to be something that he probably is going to carry forward for a long time because he really invested emotionally in that relationship.
And it sounds like maybe there haven't been that many people that he's dated. Yeah, so it's going to hit him hard.
Yeah.
It'll be something to see them on the reunion, I think. I think sad to see them on the reunion.
Yeah. And, we shouldn't skip over the fact that Katya also speaks in that opening scene, and is sad that things didn't work out, I'm sure that she was also kind of hoping for better results from this experiment, but man, it kind of imploded in a not very pretty way for the two of them. I mean, look, the ends of relationships are rarely pretty.
Yeah, always excruciating.
Yeah.
But on to happier times is when not Katya, Chrysalie and Rasmus have the meeting with Rasmus's family, and it's so cute. They seem so in love. They tell each other they love each other, and Chrysalie shares, that she didn't have a family that she thought cared about her, which we remember from the pods. And she's really excited to be part of Rasmus's family. And his mom really seems to take her in.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, I think it's not only that she didn't have a family, but that she doesn't have a family who can be currently involved in this process that she's going through, right? Like meeting Rasmus and experiencing, her falling in love and moving towards this wedding that they seem to be moving towards pretty strongly at this point. I have to say that this seems to be the relationship that I don't think is going to... I think they're both going to say yes. I think despite how the episode kind of ends, and we'll get there eventually, I think that they're both going to say yes.
I think they'll say yes too. I think that the show has been trying to present them as not totally perfect, with first the dog and then their money conversation and then the interrogation by his friend who's at his like suit fitting, which is I had thoughts about that, but they seem to just keep coming back together, and that's sweet. It's nice to see.
I mean, I guess I do wonder how the end of this episode will play out, but
I feel like that's another thing that I guess we'll get there when we get there, but I'm not too worried about it.
We're getting close to the bryllup.
Not too many doggers left.
Not too many doggers. Till bryllup. I tried this time, guys. Before saying that out loud, I did ask ChatGPT to tell me how to say that.
He did, I heard.
So yeah, we move to the dress and
shopping,
suit fitting,
which means boring. I mean, I love the dress fitting. I do, but it's like, what are we going to talk about? Like, what's the cut of this dress? I liked all their dresses.
Well, do things come up? Maybe a little bit in the men's conversations, right?
Where Lucas is like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah. And that's a pretty big thing. And wildly, Sergio is incredibly supportive.
I know.
And
that was noteworthy. Yeah.
Yeah. And in a way that was, not only supportive, I guess. He asked good questions. He was like, would you miss her if she wasn't there tomorrow? And look, granted that is not necessarily the barrier by which somebody should judge whether they should be married or not. I get that. But still, it's noteworthy that Sergio seems to try to kind of hold up their relationship and to help it out, So, yeah, Lucas describing that while he has feelings for her, he just isn't sure that he's ready for this step,
Yeah, this is what he's been doing this whole time,
Yeah.
Where he has love for her, but he's not in love with her.
Yeah.
And I don't see them getting married. But it is surprising to see Sergio being really supportive and thoughtful. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah. we'll have to take that into account in our opinion of Sergio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mira and Oscar seem to be back on in a major way.
Yeah, Mira is, talking to her mom and putting aside the conversation where she thinks that it might be a good idea that Oscar looks a little bit like her brother because it's something that's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Just setting that to one side.
Let's not double click on that one.
And just moving right on by. It is cute to see her talking to her mom and her mom being like, "Are you in love?" And she just gives this smile of like, like, yeah, I think you can tell that she is into Oscar. And if anything, Oscar might be maybe more backtracking in a way that he hadn't been, right? But before it was Mira who was presenting, like earlier on, it was Mira when they first met who was a little bit slower to kind of move into this relationship, and now it seems Oscar is the one who's maybe hesitating.
Yeah, maybe. I think I didn't pick up on that as strongly as you seem to have. I felt like Oscar was still basically in it. I think he's sort of like always been in it. It's just he got pushed to his limit with the
silence.
The silence, and I think it is the string of rejection. It's not just the silence. Man, I sound so loud. Is this how loud I'm supposed to be sounding?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Shall I turn you down in your headphones a little bit?
Mira's the one who's either all in or all out, depending on the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Oscar will say yes. I'm not sure whether Mira will say yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I'm starting to think it's Mira, yes. Oscar, maybe no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll just get married.
It's real adorable when Mira comes out in her dress and her mom cries because it's really sad. Oh, by the way, we also noted Katya was there at the dress shopping.
Yes, we did see that, which made us wonder if maybe she hadn't broken up with Christopher yet.
Yeah, maybe this happened earlier.
Yeah.
The power of editing.
Yes.
Who will know? It is unclear.
Yeah, otherwise it's just very strange that she's there. She's not like somebody's guest.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do that. They'll bring like a former pod participant like on as their
definitely.
guest, but it doesn't seem like that was what was happening. So I think she's there to try on dresses. Tell you what. We see you, Love is Blind.
And we then have the sort of like the last dates, the final dates before they, I guess, don't see each other for a while. And we have Chrysalie and Rasmus out on a little date where Rasmus is kind of spilling the tea and just saying, here's why I think nobody else is getting married.
Which, I feel you on that, Rasmus.
And some of the things, I did wonder. I was like, is this out in the open? Like the fact that he tells her that Lucas has been pretty upfront about not being really into Amelia. I was like, oh, is that maybe? I don't know. I guess it's better that things get communicated rather than not. But I do wonder whether Chrysalie is going to then tell that to Amelia, and it's going to affect their relationship.
Which honestly, I hope she does, because I do think when Amelia asks Lucas, like, if you're going to break up with me, please don't do it at the altar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to be able to give that to her. So I think she might need to end things with him.
I still have a feeling he might say yes at the altar. I have a feeling that Lucas is... So there's the weird part. Not saying that he should necessarily, based on the fact that he seems to be kind of pushing a little bit in the direction of... I think this is the right relationship for me, as opposed to this relationship, feels good or is good, There's an aspect of him that I feel is just, he's analyzing the pros and cons, and he's saying, well, this should be the relationship that I'm really into. And the math is adding up for him, and he's trying to get himself to say yes. So I think he's going to say yes. I just don't necessarily think that might be the right choice.
I think he'll say no.
Interesting.
I think he's... The only question I have is, will he say it before the altar? But I think he's starting to more and more come back into this is really happening and realize like I can't do this. But we'll see. We'll see soon. It's the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're there.
So I also wanted to note that it seemed like most people have some, not to say that a lunch date isn't cute, but Chrysalie and Rasmus just have like a lunch date at a restaurant, and everybody else has some sort of cool experience.
I know.
But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Because the next scene that we have is Sergio and Amanda, and they are in a movie theater where they see a montage of themselves falling for each other all the way up to the proposal.
Just the highlight reel. When we were watching it, Andre was like, are they going to show the receipts? Were they going to show him saying the same thing to multiple women? And I was like, no, I think this is like to, make them feel good. And, turned out I was right. This was for that, but it would have been so. Can you imagine if they showed that?
I mean, I can imagine. And also, what a way to speak towards the editing, the power of editing, you know?
Yes.
If somebody had just gone ahead and just showed us this montage, we would have been like, oh my God, they're so cute.
We love this couple.
These two seem great.
Yeah.
But it is, it's the choice of what you display. And not only that, even when it comes to those negative things, right? If you stack negative things next to each other, if you intersperse them, depending on the order in which you're presenting them, the comments that you then show from other people about the thing that you just showed, all of those things build up towards creating that story. And oh boy, just watching this was like a completely different story,
I know. We're just pawns in Love is Blind chess, in Nick and Vanessa Lachey's giant game of chess.
We're consumers. We're consuming it. What did you think about Sergio's sort of talking head after they had that moment together?
That he was just really happy and pure happiness?
Yeah, and almost like moved by the actual, like almost like he was... in some ways it felt to me like a little bit taken by surprise by that story that they showed. Yeah.
I think he's sincere. I mean, at every moment, I think he's sincere, It's just, as you know, I think the moment changes. He can change from one moment to another,
Yeah.
And he can't self-soothe. If he's feeling something, he's got to express it right then and there.
Yeah.
Maybe Amanda really likes that about him or something. Maybe she finds that spontaneous and fun and sincere.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But I believe him. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought that there was an aspect of him that was maybe surprised by how good things actually looked, quote unquote, on paper. That maybe when presented in such a way, he was like, oh, this is a pretty great relationship. That it seemed to him that some moments of hesitation were turned into less hesitation after he saw that. It somehow convinced him more that this is a good relationship than he had been previously, which I think is interesting. And also to the point of like he's always living in the present.
Do you think they'll get married?
Oh boy. I mean, I guess they'll say yes, but I have this sneaking suspicion that at some point she's going to have to see the show, right? And when you see the show, you can't keep that won't continue, will it?
Well, I also wonder what happened with that kid that he maybe has.
Oh, yeah. Well, who did you hear that from?
Sergio!
What did they say? Wait, what did they say? What did they say to you?
Before I respond, what do you know?
Yeah, specific details. What do you know and what don't you know?
Yeah, I think Amanda is all in. I don't like that I think that, but I think she is. I think she'll say yes. Sergio, I think it depends on however he's feeling in that moment. If they're in a good spot, sure. If she did something that upset him, valid or perceived, then he'll say no, you know? Which is wild to say about getting married to somebody.
Yeah.
But it's really a coin toss, I think, for me with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And Oscar and Mira, I take it back then I said that everybody else had a cool date. They also seem to just be having lunch. Although they seem to be having lunch in a really cool location.
Mm-hmm.
They're having fancy little drinks. And Mira expresses having some regrets. Not specifically around Oscar, but around the entire experience. And Oscar is having a little bit of a hard time taking this in. I think he is... I sense some frustration from him.
I would be frustrated too. I think for her, she's thinking like, this is really on my mind and I want to be honest and authentic with you and this is how I'm feeling. But I think for him, it's like, come on, are we doing this again? Which I get. I don't think she's trying to be hurtful, I guess is the point I'm making.
Oh, no, I don't think she's trying to be hurtful, but I think he would have loved if this had just been a romantic happy dinner.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think he really didn't want this conversation right now. But yeah, you can sense the tension between them at this little lunch gathering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think she just wants to be able to speak what she's truly feeling at any moment.
Which makes sense, right?
That makes sense. The impact of it in that moment where it's like he's gone through this multiple times with her now, and this is right on the eve of their wedding. I get why that's hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Speaking
Lucas
of
and
hurtful.
Amelia.
Mm-hmm. Lucas and Amelia at the billiards hall.
Billiards?
Is it? I thought they were playing pool.
Bowling.
Right, bowling, of course. Yeah, we just saw that clip.
Where they both seem to be, okay, maybe I'm just bad at bowling, but they're both putting spins and throwing curves, hitting strikes. I was like, whoa, you guys are good.
I like having the bumpers now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just for kids. It's for me to not be frustrated when
Kids
I'm
in
bowling.
alley.
Yeah. A kid at heart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to... You know I'm competitive and not good at losing.
Right.
So it helps with that.
Right.
Yeah, so Amelia and Lucas are talking, and Lucas seems hopeful here. He's saying, like, you know, we always work through things, and I feel stronger and stronger for you every day.
Yeah, there's a statement in here that he makes where he says that it's not the crazy kind of love that just sweeps you up, but it's warm and secure, where he wants to build a family in the future. And I can maybe understand where he's coming from, to the extent that maybe he usually feels a lot of like physical attraction and infatuation for somebody that maybe then just fizzles out and goes nowhere, right? And that maybe for Amelia it hasn't been that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a very different kind of relationship for maybe than what he's used to. But they seem to be doing well at this point.
And at bowling, they are crushing it.
They're crushing it at bowling, but I don't know how. Ultimately, I don't know how calmed by all of this Amelia is. I think Lucas has made a lot of changes in the last 2 episodes. But I don't know if Amelia. It might be too little, too late for Amelia.
I would like to think that, but I think Amelia will say yes. I think she's too into him. I think they'll make her go first, and she'll say yes. And he will, I think, probably say no.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we are on dag till bröllop.
So the bröllops?
Bröllop. And we have the...
Yeah, I guess bröllop is already plural, huh?
Bröllops?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But we have the bachelorette and bachelor parties. For the ladies, this means a limousine. For the men, it means a houseboat. Both seem cool.
Well, the ladies are going to go write a song is their big activity.
Yeah. We start sauna. Then there's song. Then there's meeting up with other people.
I just appreciated how it was like everything I think about when I think about Sweden. It was like saunas, recording music, you know, like,
Fair,
okay,
fair.
cool. I was like, we're really just being full Swede. I love it. I loved it.
Yeah, look, we just watched Eurovision. There's a lot of famous Swedish artists.
There are.
It was surprising how many Swedish artists we recognized songs by. But yeah, you know, we're getting some men in a sauna, and I believe this is one of the points where you know, some of the real stuff comes out between the guys. You know, this was I think Oscar is the one who kind of is talking about how he's feeling just a little iffy about this the upcoming marriage, that, you know, that maybe this relationship isn't going to work out in the way that he is hoping it would, just because she might not, or yeah, it's unclear whether this is him talking or whether it's her. It seems to me that it's more him, which is why I said earlier that I think he is the one who's backing away from the relationship a little bit more.
I think he's afraid to be as invested as he's been with her hesitation, which I get. That's actually what we were hoping Christopher would do.
Yeah.
You know, instead of doubling down. So, yeah, Oscar seems to be more like, I want this to work, but I can't be the only one, you know?
Yeah.
So you just got a different background than Christopher there.
And to be fair, also Mira does say to Chrysalie that she doesn't know at this point. She doesn't know whether she'll say yes or no.
But she also says to Amanda, I've learned you don't have to be 100% in, which is interesting, you know?
Do you think that was advice from her mom?
I don't know where she got that from. Maybe her sister? I mean, her sister was like calling her out on, oh, you're doing your Mira thing, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, we'll see.
We get more of the ladies singing. We won't comment on that.
Well, I thought it was fun. I'll comment. I thought it was like a fun idea and concept to do that, but I was also like, man, if I got to my bachelorette party and then I had to do it to work, I'd be like, I don't know about that.
You think this was work? Come on.
I think
they had a great time.
Yeah, hopefully it was really bonding. But that was my first thought when I saw this activity. I was like, ugh, I just want to chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we come to the game. The game,
yes, where the men are taking a quiz
called Do You Know Your Future Wife?
And it's Rasmus's friend. What's his name?
I don't know.
Ruben?
Yeah, Ruben, who was really hating on them. And all of a sudden is fine with everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
The editing is just wild.
And this is, everybody at this point is probably a little bit tipsy, a little bit drunk. They've been, they've spent most of the day drinking by what we've seen so far. And, we get a little bit of Oscar kind of finally speaking out in front of the guys about how he tends to be the chatterbox and Mira likes silence, and how that's been a problem for them. And man, it's hard to like stay away from the sort of culmination of this particular scene, which is Rasmus. But otherwise, the party seems to be going well. They're having a good time.
I feel like we can jump maybe to that scene.
We can jump. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like real big that happens here. Oh yes, there is, which is I think from my perspective, Emilia and her friend, where Emilia essentially says, or Emilia's friend says, "I am not used to seeing you be this bummed out," and it is sad that I think I think you're doing the wrong thing. Because on the other hand, we have Mira and her friend talking about this, and Mira is kind of saying, "Look, I think I'm just like, I think I'm making things up that why I don't want to marry him. I think I actually do want to marry him." But the conversation that Emilia has with her friend is seems to have a lot more of an impact on her. And it also culminates with the two of them in front of the camera where her friend goes, "I think you have to say no." And Emilia, I think, is in part maybe just touched that her friend wants to take care of her in that way. But also it might be something where like up until that point, maybe other people have just been pushing her to say yes. And it helps to have somebody else say, "You should say no." I don't know. Did you feel anything from this interaction?
Yeah, I do. I agree with your assessment that I think Emilia seems to be listening to her friend. I don't know if it will actually have an impact though, because her other friends were also really concerned about her. And then when Lucas displays interest, she's back in again, So I mean, if I were in Emilia's shoes, I wouldn't want to marry someone who was that uncertain about me. Even if he said yes, I would think I would say no. But
yeah,
for whatever reason, she's having a hard time doing that. Maybe she thinks she's not going to find someone better. Maybe she thinks it's a phase. Maybe she's in denial about how unhappy she is.
Yeah.
All of that.
I mean, it's also difficult what she mentions that her relatives are coming from Finland to see her, and she feels bad about that. There might be some aspect of that feels like a lot of extra pressure.
I guess a reason I think Emilia will say yes is I think if she thought she was going to say no, she would say it before the wedding.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I can see that.
I feel like Lucas is not the same guarantee. But it is important. And then we come to the end of the episode where essentially Rasmus did the worst on the game about how well do you know your wife. And this really spooks Chrysalie. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, right, that he gets so many things wrong about her, including her eye color, which,
right.
Look, I'm
very polarizing.
I think there is it's a little bit, it might be a little bit of a gold dress, blue dress, because I'm staring at her eyes, and if you were to ask me at any point up until now what color her eyes are, I would have said blue.
Yeah, or gray maybe, or something.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't look at them and think like, oh, she's got green eyes.
Yeah. But I do think that regardless of how he did on the quiz overall, the fact that he didn't do well, I think the thing that really hits her is this eye color question. I think more than anything else. And meanwhile, Rasmus, I think, is just like he's drunk and having a great time, and I think he has no idea that this is having any kind of an impact on Chrysalie at all.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's just like, oh, we're so solid. We're the power couple. Nothing can break us.
Yeah.
And he thinks that she's on the same page and doesn't realize this is going to impact her in the same way. But the juxtaposition of the editing here is quite something. I'm like, they had a fun time in that editing office, showing her being very upset and him just being like the most extra.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
grinding on some
grinding
dudes.
on Oscar. Yeah. So I think Chrysalie is overreacting a bit. I think she's probably drunk.
Yeah.
You know, not that, and she also can be like that. Like after the dogs didn't go well, she went to a place of being really spooked. So that might be her attachment stuff too. Is that
Right.
like,
Right.
it's so uncertain for her. Like she cannot trust, because of how she grew up, that the people she thinks will be there for her will actually be there for her. So maybe now Rasmus is moving into this role and she's finding, like, making more importance of this than she otherwise would have to, in a kind of like hypervigilance, you know, like a trauma response, like, oh no. So it's probably that, in combination with wine, in combination with it just being so emotional, you know. But I don't see it meaning she's going to say no to him.
Yeah.
I think she'll still say yes.
Yeah, and I guess we'll find out on the next episode.
And then we'll have a lot to report.
I love that in the little on the next episode montage that happens at the end, it all ends with Christopher sitting down watching the weddings and just turning to a person next to him saying, "Have you had any sparkling wine today?" And that's it. But yeah, that was this episode. I think fairly brief look at this one.
Yeah, there's less to talk about on these episodes, you know.
And yes, and we'll see what happens and whether that's true about this next episode.
There'll be plenty to talk about in that.
Yes.
But for now, please, again, reminder to like us and follow us, subscribe.
5-star review.
5-star reviews and comments. We love the comments. We love the interaction. I miss it. Listen, I know that we've been not great about putting these episodes out, but I still need it in my heart and soul. I need you all. And
yes.
Andre does too, even though he's not saying it.
Yeah, I need it.
So please.
All right.
Please help us.
On that note, bye everybody.